Last year during college application season, I viewed hundreds and hundreds of college application essays, so I thought I'd make a list of the most common mistakes I saw while reviewing those so that you guys don't make those same mistakes. And if you didn't already know, my name's Cassidy. I post college admission and college application tips for both high school and community college students. I also still offer a booking service for any stage of the college application essay, whether you're just starting out and need help brainstorming, or if you're finished and need a second pair of eyes to revise it. I'm also partners with Advisorly, the #1 transfer app for community college students, so if you're a community college student, go ahead and follow their TikTok account because they post tons of tips on there as well. But let's get started with this list without further ado. The most common mistake by far was students writing cliches or quotes, especially in the beginning of an essay. Students tend to use cliches or quotes as a topic sentence because they don't really know how to start their essay. Never ever use a cliche or quote. College admissions just doesn't like that. The quote or cliche really takes away from your uniqueness, which is what college application essays are for. You're either writing your personal statement or personal insight question, so keyword personal. They should be personal, not general, and cliches and quotes really generalize your essay, and they take away from the individuality that you want to showcase in these. The second most common mistake I saw was not specifying your major. A lot of times college admissions will be reviewing thousands of essays at a time, so even though they probably just reviewed your general application, it's good to remind them by the time that they get to your essay what your major was. And a lot of students don't know this, but the people reviewing your essays and college application aren't people who are in the field of your major. They're just usually general college admission counselors. Next is a huge one that so many students do, and that is listing off accomplishments. This really weakens your essay because if you're just listing off accomplishments, that's no different than the rest of your application, where you're listing off your activities and awards and honors, certificates, or extracurricular. That's not what your essay is for. Your essay is for sharing specific experiences and going in depth on one or two experiences and highlighting those experiences rather than listing off a bunch of different things you did will help make your essay a lot stronger. Next, and this one is just strictly for the UC personal insight question, students tend to write them using narrative or creative style writing, which UCs directly ask you not to do that. Different than the Common App, where you'll see a lot of those mainstream essays, and those ones are usually definitely more creative writing style. But for the PIQs, you want them to be more straightforward and direct answers, as if you're responding to a job interview question in person. Next most common mistake is when students write one big block of writing with no paragraph breaks. The format of these essays should be like a regular mini essay, so you could have paragraphs. For the UC personal insight questions, usually you want to have 2 to 3 paragraphs, which is a short essay because you only have 350 words, but a lot of students tend to just write one big block, and I'll have to tell them to have paragraph breaks. Next most common mistake is writing about someone else. These are about you, so don't write about your father who inspired you or a teacher who motivated you. You can briefly mention that, but the focus of the essay should always be you and not them. And lastly, when students only answer half of the prompt, a lot of students tend to ignore parts of a question. Most frequently, I saw this mistake in the UC personal insight question, asking about a challenge you faced or overcame, an obstacle you overcame. And then the second half of the question was, how did it affect you academically? And a lot of students would ignore that part of the question, and they'd say that it didn't really affect them academically. And in that case, I say don't answer that question. Try to fit it with a different question, because you always want to make sure you're covering every aspect of the question. Another place I frequently see students only answer half of the prompt is for the required question for transfer students. The last half of that question asks that you talk about your readiness to succeed in upper division courses, and a lot of students don't touch on that part of the question. So you want to make sure you're covering everything, not just the parts you like. Like this video if it helped, and follow me for more college admission tips and advice.